Right now on Hoosier News Source, the Monroe County Jail is overcrowded and that's causing problems. Hear what led to the overcrowding.
And the annual IU Dance Marathon came to a close. Find out more about what went in to raise a record-breaking total.
And I have when to expect showers and thunderstorms that may affect your travel plans for this Thanksgiving break. These stories and more. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Hoosier News Source. I'm Andrew Lamparski.
And I'm Sophia Grimsgard.
To start off the show, Zoe Mintz joins us live in studio with this week's weather. Zoe?
Thanks, Andrew. Now is the time that everyone's heading home for Thanksgiving break, and if you are lucky enough to be able to leave Wednesday and classes early, you might want to wait until later in the evening because you're going to start out the day 8 a.m., 41 degrees, pretty mild weather, but as you get to 4 p.m., it will go up to 46 degrees, but the chance of thunderstorms and precipitation are up to 90%. So if you're driving home, you may want to stay off the roads at that time. And then ending day 8 p.m., it's only about 30% precipitation, but it stays about the same mild temperatures. And if you do have to stay until Friday for classes, beware of the possible threat of severe weather that will extend from upper around Lake Michigan down to Louisiana. And this is only about a 15% chance of severe weather that will be happening in the late afternoon. But if you are heading up I-65 to Chicago, you may want to wait until later in the day because there is that extreme weather chance. Saturday does have a high possibility of rain as well, with the cold front pushing through the area. And this will go through the area at around early afternoon, 10 a.m., bringing with it showers and very, very chilly temperatures on your Sunday. The passage of this front is very clear when taking a look at the 7-day forecast. We start out our week with mild temperatures on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all around the upper 40s, low 50s, and then Sunday, 36 degrees, very chilly, and that is because of the passage of the cold front. So all in all, if you're planning on traveling home, Thursday is your best day. 45 degrees, pretty mild, partly cloudy, not a chance of rain. Sophia, Andrew, have a great Thanksgiving break. Safe travels home. Back to you.
IU Dance Marathon came to a close after a long 36 hours this Sunday. The second largest student philanthropy in the country, IUDM raised over $4 million this weekend. Over 3,000 students participated, having to raise at least $500 each. Over 1,000 committee members worked for over 10 months to help raise the money. Participants danced and gave speeches and spent time with Riley kids. It all started with a lawsuit in 2009. The Monroe County Jail has struggled on and off with overcrowding for years. With the growing opioid crisis, they're doing all they can to be accommodating to inmates. After that lawsuit, the county agreed to keep the number of inmates to around 278. Recently, numbers have exceeded 300. Even with drug court and rehabilitation programs in place, opioid-addicted citizens are still overfilling bed space. Commander Sam Crow says that as the jail fills with more violent offenders, it fills with many repeat opioid users, making for unintended consequences.
The charges are more serious, so we're getting a higher level of violence, criminal activity, things like that within the jail.
And although this is a growing problem, the jail does offer rehabilitation programs for inmates that want help. For more information on the Monroe County Correctional Center, visit the Sheriff's Office website.
Last week, the Bloomington Fire Department received a new score from the Insurance Service Office. The department received a Class 2 rating and is one of only 11 in the state to do so. The rating is based on the overall efficiency of the fire department. This includes staffing, equipment, and emergency communications. The new rating could result in lower insurance premiums for Bloomington property owners. IUSA assembled Tuesday in Franklin Hall for their monthly voting session. Hoosier News Source reporter Abir Kamran attended the meeting and has more about the pending legislation and how it's affecting students.
IUSA Congress votes on bills that directly affect IU's student body. On Tuesday's meeting, the lack of congressional representatives in attendance was starkly noticeable.
It can sometimes be a little bit disappointing, per se, that Congress is not always full because IUSA Congress is supposed to represent the entire Bloomington campus student body, and so not having a full representation means that we're not fully representing the students there.
The 65 members of Congress are required to attend or send a proxy to monthly voting sessions. At the session, Congress voted on a bill calling to remove members that failed to attend every meeting.
And there were a lot of students who had not been there for, months at a time. And so it was just a little surprising to me because I feel that would be a cool opportunity to be involved in IUSA Congress, to be able to represent students. And so it's a little surprising to me that more students are not willing and able to go.
The bill states that there were numerous representatives that refused to attend meetings. 26 members that comprise over a third of Congress were in violation of the attendance policy.
Attendance can be a lot better. Those who are in attendance at Congress who are doing their best, I think that they are very important. I think that they're what's keeping IUSA Congress still relevant and still important to this campus. It's just getting them the support and the members that they need to really represent Bloomington and make an impact, I feel.
Sayers agrees that more representatives present would open a broader discussion on the congressional floor.
Imagine that just when you have more people in the room, you're going to have more conflicting viewpoints, so to speak.
For Hoosier News Source, I'm Abir Cameron.
The Student Government's Congress meets once a month to vote on legislature. Meetings can be watched live on the IUS TV Facebook page. Patriotism was in the air on campus Friday. Students and veteran families outside Sample Gates observed the flag-raising ceremony to celebrate Veterans Day. A luncheon and military appreciation men's and women's basketball games followed the ceremony. From all of us here at IUS TV, happy Veterans Day.
A new Indiana campus farm is coming to Bloomington and will soon be offering fresh fruits and vegetables to students. Located next to the intersection of 10th Street and Pete Ellis Drive, the farm will soon begin growing fruits and vegetables. It may also add animals at a later date. Food from the farm will be put to use across campus and the community. It will also be donated to the Crimson Cupboard Food Pantry. Students can look forward to having the fresh, locally grown produce offered in dining halls, the Union, and IU athletic facilities. Sadly, mass shootings are occurring all across the nation. Hoosier News Source reporter Lindsay Jackson found out how IUPD officials would handle an active shooter situation.
The mass shooting at Columbine High School occurred nearly 20 years ago. It shook the country. There have been different tragedies occurring all over the nation since. Most recently, the tragedy that struck Sutherland Springs, Texas just last week on November 10th. This tragedy took the lives of 26 people. IUPD Captain Craig Monroe says that events like these have very limited response times.
As a police officer, it is frustrating because we have such a short time to respond to these type of events. They're usually over within minutes, so a lot of damage can be done very rapidly.
Indiana University emphasizes its run, hide, fight safety precaution method to its students here on campus. Captain William Monroe of the IU Police Department says that it's most important for students to make sure that they protect themselves first and let campus officials handle the rest in the situation of an active shooter on campus.
The run, hide, fight video that we've got on the protect.iu.edu website now, it's about how do you protect yourself until the law enforcement can get there and take care of the threat.
Brown, student officer for the IUPD, has a different perspective on the recent tragedies and how IU protects its students.
So I think it's terrible, that people have to go through some of these things when they just doing their day-to-day activities, not bringing harm to anyone or doing anything like that. And it's kind of just unfortunate to, just be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
IU provides various safety resources such as IU Notify to ensure student safety.
No one can ever guarantee you the utmost security, they can never do that. But I feel like IU has the proper resources, with things like IU Notify and Safe Rides and things like that to try to make it as safe as possible.
For Hoosier News Source, I'm Lindsay Jackson.
For more information on IUPD and protection, visit their website at iupd.indiana.edu.
Coming up, we tell you how the Hoosiers did in sports this week.
Plus, more details on how international students take on challenges that come with college in America.
These stories and more coming up. Stay with us.
And it's an honor to be here. after suffering a season-ending injury in late March.
As you can see behind me.
Welcome back. There's been a lot going on around the world. Hoosier News Source reporter Courtney Sisk has the latest lowdown. Courtney?
Thanks, Sophia. Let's take a look at what's been going on in the world around us. The Federal Emergency Management Agency offered to temporarily transport and house displaced Puerto Rican residents to hotels in Florida and New York. According to Florida Governor Rick Scott, over 140,000 people have left Puerto Rico since Hurricane Maria, some with federal assistance, but many without. The hotels on the island are at maximum capacity, which is why the agency made the decision to relocate residents to the mainland. It is unknown how temporary the relocation will be. The world's deadliest earthquake this year hit Iran and Iraq on Sunday. Over 500 people were killed and more than 500 villages are damaged from the 7.3 magnitude earthquake. The quake was so large that it was felt as far as the Mediterranean coast of Israel. Iran falls on many fault lines, which are fractures of rock, making the country prone to earthquakes. The ongoing threats from North Korea prompted Hawaii to begin preparing for a nuclear attack. December 1st will be the first time since the Cold War that Hawaii will test their nuclear attack sirens. President Trump visited the state earlier this month to meet with several Pacific governors to discuss issues, including the North Korean threats. The governor of Hawaii, David E. Gay, believes that the state will be safe as their defense team is well prepared. That's all for this week's Lowdown. If you know of a world news topic that you would like covered, let me know on Twitter at CGSiskNews. Back to you.
Last week was International Education Week here at IU. On Tuesday, the Career Services Council hosted a panel on the importance of learning international cultural norms.
For many students, the thought of traveling to another country with a completely different culture can be nerve-wracking. The Career Services Council sought to address some of these concerns with a panel made up of internationally experienced academic and business leaders.
I'm here inside the Georgian room of the IMU, where the panel on global etiquette and intercultural competency was hosted. Tonight, panelists discuss how students should conduct themselves both professionally and socially in the global setting.
Topics from the panel included ways to adjust to a new culture, making international connections, and international career tips. As career coach Sarah Kawada explains, career preparation was one of the main goals of the event.
One of our main objectives is how do we properly and effectively educate not only our international student population, but our domestic students with internationalized careers and job opportunities and internship opportunities.
While it may seem overwhelming to adapt to a new culture, the panel explained that with today's technology, it's much easier. With a simple Google search, students can find information on the politics and pop culture of a given country. Panel moderator Tatiana Kalavu, originally from Greece, described how she uses iTunes as a way to bridge cultures.
Sometimes I do training seminars in other countries and I play music when people come in the room. I'll look on iTunes to see what's trending in those countries so I'm not irrelevant or too Americanized.
While leaving behind a familiar culture seems intimidating, a common theme of the discussion was the importance of stepping outside of one's comfort zone.
When I came, I was one of the very few Greeks here, and as much as I hated it, it was probably the thing that helped me the most. Because when you go to a different place, all you want to do is find your familiar, safe place.
Whether it's here at IU or abroad, learning the ways of other cultures can be a challenging yet rewarding experience.
Many panelists acknowledge that more business is conducted internationally now than ever before. The Career Services Council designed the program as a way to educate students to succeed in a more globalized society.
Many IU sports teams were back in action this weekend. IUS TV sports reporter Joe Cantor joined us in the studio with highlights. Joe?
Thanks, guys. The Indiana football team traveled to the Champaign of the Midwest on Saturday and came back with their first Big Ten win of the season. It was also the first conference win of Tom Allen's head coaching career. The Hoosiers defense stepped it up in this one after giving up 40 points in back-to-back weeks. They forced the Fighting Illini into 3 turnovers. Richard Fant and T. Grace Scales accounted for all 3 of those turnovers, as each had an interception, and Fant forced a fumble that Scales jumped on. They also held Illinois to just 14 points, the second lowest total they've allowed all season. The Hoosiers, now with a record of 4-6, continue their quest to become bowl eligible when they host Rutgers on Saturday. Indiana men's basketball opened their regular season with a lot of excitement, but the Arch Madness quickly faded. In the tip-off game of the 2017-2018 season, the Hoosiers fell at home to the Indiana State Sycamores, who shot the lights out from three-point range. The Hoosiers would bounce back, though, to defeat Howard on Sunday, though not by a wide margin, just 86-77. Still, the win was significant, as it was the first official win for head coach Archie Miller in his tenure at IU. The team will next be in action on Wednesday when they face number 22 Seton Hall at the Gavitt Tip-Off Classic in the Big Apple, New York City. The number 1 ranked IU men's soccer team came up just short in the Big Ten Tournament Championship game on Sunday, losing to number 24 Wisconsin in penalty kicks. The Hoosiers' top-ranked defense has carried them all season, but their offense just couldn't find the back of the net in this one as they fall in penalty kicks. A couple key misses by Trevor Schwartz and Mason Toy cost the Hoosiers the conference crown. But it wasn't all bad news for Indiana, as they earned the number 2 overall seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament. Well, how exciting. Indiana men's soccer gets the number 2 overall seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament.
Well, they may have the number 2 seed, but they have the number 1 defense in the country, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm so excited to watch.
Yeah, and luckily we have a lot of really young players on the team, so hopefully we'll be able to keep the streak going for a while.
Yeah, well, thanks, Joe. That's all we have for you this week. For more campus and local news, visit our website at iustv.com.
And don't forget to like us on social media. Like us on Facebook at IUSTV News and follow us on Twitter at Hoosier NW Source.
From all of us here at IUSTV, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.